from the Stereo Sound Records Studios, your home for the best in unsigned and indie punk, rock, and metal. This is The Mosh Pit with your host, Wes Everett.
A small walk to Pluto. You are not the only one.
Welcome to the Mosh Pit. It's your host, Wes Everett. I am here with my lovely guest, Miss Emily Glazener, from Houston, Texas. Or close enough. She's going to correct me in a minute. She's from Texas. She came all the way to Atlanta just to see the Mosh Pit Studios. And that's the way I'm going to spend that because that's what I do. Miss Emily, how are you? Why are you actually here?
I'm actually here because I could not stop, if I was driving through the country. But the reason that I am in this part of the country is my son is in the Navy, and he's deployed, and he's somewhere right around Africa. And he called me with one of his, phone calls that they're very rare. And he said, will you please go get my car?
Nice.
And I was like, yeah. And last year I'd actually brought him the car. It's a Jeep. It's a 6-speed. And, oops, sorry about that.
You're good. Hey,
Parents, we still have them. It's a 6-speed, and not anybody that I know besides myself can drive one, which is funny because in other countries it's very, very, very normal to drive what we would call drive stick, drive a standard. And so many people, I'm going to actually use it to teach a few of my friends back home how to drive a manual. But that's why I'm here. I stayed with my brother, who's most recently moved. My brother, my beautiful sister-in-law, and little niece, and we had a great time staying with them. And they just moved here, so it just coincided so great. And then I was like, before I came out, I was like, hey, I know I'm going to be in this area. How hard would it be for me to get here? And you're like, not hard.
Not hard.
As long as you follow Siri.
Yeah, there you go. How bad was the drive? Where'd you come? Flowery Branch area?
Yeah, and actually it wasn't bad at all. No, what was bad was to get here in the sense of this area, I had to take a flight, and we took a certain flight. I'm not going to say who, because we took this one flight that was not super expensive. But I wanted to take my son because anything that I can do with any of my children one-on-one, I try to as much as I can. So he's gone to California with me. We've done a whole bunch of other fun things. So this is what we did. We flew this particular flight all the way to Denver. That's where our layover was. We're trying to get to Virginia, and our layover was in Denver. So, yeah, it's like a weird Pac-Man. So we're in the weird Pac-Man area, right? We're over in Denver, and we have a 7.5-hour layover. Thank God for audiobooks. I love Audible, just setting that out there. And we crashed, on the ground, right before where the gate was. Then we get on the plane, tired as tired can be, because who sleeps on the ground well? No one. And he falls asleep. And then all of a sudden we hear very loudly from the pilot, there's a problem with the valve and one of the rods in the right engine. And everybody's face goes, well, when are we going to get off, And so we're going to have maintenance out, and we'll tell you in 25 minutes whether they're going to be able to fix it or we stay on the plane. And you can see from everybody's face, no one is going to be staying on that plane.
Right.
So 25 minutes later, I jab him and say, hey, we're getting off the plane. And he's like, oh, we're already in Virginia? I was like, no, buddy. And in that moment, my son calls me, are you getting the car? He had, all the way, off of the aircraft carrier calls me. And I'm like, no, look, we're on our way. I'm trying to talk to you all at the same time. And we get onto another plane. We finally get onto the other plane. And as we're coming in for the landing, because we were 2 hours off, we fly straight into Ian. Ian. We fly straight into Ian. So the last 20 minutes, and he falls asleep. Thank God. Because I love roller coasters, but this is like being on a 25-minute roller coaster. And you know that feeling when you know that you are going to be sick and there is nothing that you can do about it? I'm like 2 seconds from being sick by the time we land, right? And you have that sweat bead across your forehead. And I had just been talking with the lady next to me. Her name was Shannon. She's so sweet. And we were just saying how we've never seen anybody use that bag before. It was about to happen. So we landed, and from the back to the front, you hear... I've never been on a plane where there's an eruption of applause that we landed and survived. People got off that plane so fast. It was insane.
I can imagine about some. All right, I said all my prayers that I need to say for today on this 125-minute flight.
Well, it was like
or the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, but it was so crazy, and I love to fly. Like when I'm flying back from England, you'll hit turbulence, and it's fine, But that I thought, oh yeah, I could do turbulence. No.
Well, there's a difference in turbulence and a freaking hurricane.
Yeah. I think everybody on the plane forgot, oh, yeah, we're flying into a hurricane.
It's like, this could be trouble.
Yeah.
Dude, that is awesome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you made it through the hurricane and the crazy flights.
Yes.
And now you're here.
I am here.
Studio.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
It is really, we took pictures and everything. We're going to put it on the social media because that's what we do. But I love it, and I love your pirate flag.
Thank you.
And all I can think of when I see your pirate flag is I love the Treasure Island, that really long one that's like 3 hours long. And it's a bloody doctor. My kids just laughed just now who were listening to that because they know what it's from.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's all I can think. It's a bloody doctor.
It's actually funny. That is actually there, not just as because it's a cool pirate flag, but it's there to hide all that horrible wiring up there that exposed ceiling has to offer.
But I think it does it in such a wonderful way.
It does. And if I never mentioned it, you'd never know.
No. Well, if I lean back.
You got to lean way back. You got to lean way back. Who does
just
that?
Just a little bit. Just if I just there I can see it.
There you go. Now, with that being said, all you bands who complain that I'm so far away, she came from Houston. She came from Texas to see me.
That's right.
She also drove from Flowery Branch, which is not that far.
It's about hour 45 minutes. Yeah.
There you go.
So. Yeah, and hour 45 minutes is for me, like when you said it's going to be about maybe 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's nothing. Mm-hmm. On a regular basis, at least twice a month, I drive from one side of Houston to the other side of Houston. Plus, and we call that, Houston is an hour away from Houston. And if you don't believe me, go and try it. It absolutely is an hour away from Houston.
Atlanta's the same way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I love it. Because people look at you, what do you mean you drive? Like, when I was in England and I didn't mind, I'll start down all the way. I was all the way in Torquay. And they're like, well, you're going to have to take a train to get this, to do that. I was like, yeah, that's no problem. Yeah. Travel is no problem. I even did an interview while I was on the coach, like the bus from London up to Newcastle, and it was so funny. I looked so disheveled, but I was like, this is it. It's like my passport picture is the worst picture you'd ever seen in the world. And people make fun of me for it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. When I get off the plane for like 10 to 14 hours, this is what I'm going to look like anyway. Mm-hmm. I said that to one of the people going through the gate, and they're like, you're a genius. That's smart.
Yeah, exactly. Why do I get dolled up for this?
Why would I get dolled up? Because I ain't going to look like that.
Yeah, like,
no makeup, looking at you like I don't even want to be here,
Mm-hmm. That's me, because what I do for work is I'm an ATM tech. Mm-hmm. And up until last 3 months, I've been the tech for pretty much Georgia. So at any given moment, I could have to get my stuff together and drive to Savannah, which is about 5 hours. Drive to the other side of Alabama, which is about 5 hours. Drive to Knoxville, Tennessee, which is about 5 hours. Drive to the other side of South Carolina, also 5 hours. So when I'm like, oh, that's only 2 hours away? What am I going to do with myself? I can't even listen to a full chapter of my book.
I love that you said that, because I'm listening to the Bruce Springsteen book. It's so good.
Conditions apply. Time to get loose.
goddamn world, we need to have a good time. With all the doom and gloom, it's time to make some room for some vodka sodas with wine. So I can do the bullshit politics, tomorrow we'll argue and have our say. But for now, it's time to get off wild. That's what we're doing today. Let's get going, we wanna get high. Fire up the bomb, it's all done to fly. Pass it on over, wanna guzzle some wine. Nice and celebration is gonna be fun. When the smoke is my lungs, feel so fucking great. Time doesn't matter, there's no one to be late. Roof wash my brain, there's no more pain. Come wash my brain, just like the rain. Time to get loose.
I listened to his live on Broadway. I don't think I got his book yet.
Oh, it's so good. Like, and I'm a huge, and I don't know if this is Batman plug. I love Audible. Audible
Yes.
is the bestest thing ever. And the two things that I'm going to listen to are going to be comedy and music.
There you go.
And that's about it. And then I think the only other thing I listened to besides that I really enjoyed, which was like kind of sciencey or whatever, was Sapiens. That's wonderful. If you're listening and you have not read that, read it, because there's a whole like Homo sapien, like there's like, I think there was like you had the Neanderthals, the Homo sapiens, and then something called like Disavinian. I didn't even know that thing existed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that like our missing link thing?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
So, I just finished Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Because
Oh,
I'm a huge
yeah.
King fan. I am.
So a lot of friends of mine are as well. It's funny.
So good. So good.
I see you're smiling.
That's so
You're
good.
like horror, like my child.
Yes.
He loves horror as well.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it just, I like my drives. I like my alone time where I can listen to my books, listen to my music, not have anybody going, can we stop? I gotta pee.
He doesn't necessarily do that. He's like, can we listen to something else?
No, yeah, there you go. No, the
You
radio's
have
broke.
earphones. Yeah, it's like, and I will say, my car, my rules. All right, just letting you know.
Yeah.
Put
So
your
when he
earphones
gets
on.
older, his car, his rules.
Yes, which
There you go.
I live by. Like my mother would listen to this horrible, drivel of no, but I have to listen to it. I just sit there. And, yeah, it's her car. Yeah, so I'll have to do that.
I used to have that bad habit where as soon as I got in the car, I just hit the button for 96 Rock. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Hey, 96 Rock. I don't care what you're listening to. I hear some rock and roll.
Gotta hear some rock and roll. Yes.
So let's get back to what you have coming up. So you've got the Christmas.
I've got my Christmas song, Merry Christmas, a Happy One Too. And I'm super excited about that, how that song came to be, what it means to me. Yes, I know it's mine. It sounds really good. It sounds festively, and it's like, da, da, da. Like my dream. I'm going to be in Kohl's one day, and I'm going to be buying my kids clothes for school and be like, that's me, in my best Dick Solomon voice.
So this song is supposed to replace Mariah Carey's terrible.
No, I can't say that because I have a really good friend, and she loves that song. So I didn't say that. No, I wrote a song that is festive, but it is what we all go through. Whether you are a Christian, whether you're not, whether everybody experiences Christmas. Everyone. Mm-hmm. You cannot say that we don't. Mm-hmm. And so to me, yes, Christmas is very inclusive. And I wrote it to be. I'm sorry. I wrote it to be inclusive, and I wrote it to be about what everybody experiences. I'm like, there is somebody ringing a bell as soon as you walk out of Walmart, as soon as you walk out of the town square. Yep. Anywhere there's going to be, you're going to see that. And you're going to see lights all over the houses. And I'm sure that you know this, being in the South, there's a thing in Sunday school where there are children who put a lot of gifts into a shoebox, and they mail it off, to children who don't have anything. Mm-hmm. And so I put that in there in my experiences. And my idea is, we're not that different than people in Germany, than people in England, than people in, South Asia. We're not. We're all the same. We all feel the same way, and everybody can recognize Christmas. So I decided to sing a song that has Christmas sang in about 4 different languages, and then I say Merry Christmas, and what do our friends, over in the UK, they say a Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas, a Happy one too.
There you go. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What is your
love
release
it.
date?
It's actually been released because my publishers wanted to get right on it. But I wrote that song. If anybody follows me or knows anything about me, my child is playing with a box and being quite loud.
It's all part of the experience.
It is.
It's
He's
all.
13, and I'm going to be like, you got to do a 5-year-old thing. All right. It's all right. We got that. But if you know anything about me, if you follow me, you will know that I am a huge Eddie Izzard fan. I always have been. My children are as well. And I like the Make Humanity Great Again Fund. It's all about, the idea of, making the world good. And I think it's wonderful. And I have rooted for Eddie. I ran through countries and the UK and South Africa, and this last time, most recently, on a treadmill. And I think it's an amazing, wonderful thing. And, the idea, she can do things like have different languages, do comedy in different languages and reach people around the world like that. So I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking at this. I've already got the tune in my head and I see this, the Make Humanity Great Again thing. And I'm like, oh, well, I can at least sing Merry Christmas in other languages. So that's what I did. And I thought, if I write my own Christmas song, if I want to use it for charity, I can. Yeah. If I want to do this or that with it, I can. If I want to say, a movie to use it, this kind of thing, yeah, instead of recording somebody else's song.
Yeah.
And so, I'm really, really pleased with it. But it's always kind of fun to say this is where it was inspired from. And I wrote it 2020 of Thanksgiving Day. Awesome. Left the kids at Grandma's house and was like, driving home, and the first line is, snow must be falling somewhere. And I literally said that out loud, snow must be falling somewhere, because it was hot, because we live in Texas.
It doesn't snow over there, does it?
Well, it did in 2021,
that was
and we almost
year,
died.
Yeah, I know.
It was
that
like
was a
February.
Weird year.
People went off to dinner for Valentine's, and then, they did get out of their apartments and their homes a good week after that, like I lost every bit of the food in my house. Thank goodness I had sent my kids off to separate grandparents, and they didn't lose power, but I lost power, and I'm just sitting there watching the Alone show, all huddled up under 3 layers of clothes, 4 blankets, and I'm not kidding. It's 40-something degrees in my apartment, which is not good. It's snowing outside, but I'm like, I've got my, little chips, and I'm watching. I can't believe they're so cold out there. They got no food. Watching Alone. You know that show, right?
Yep.
Which is so great.
Yep.
You kind of felt like I'm living it with you with my chips.
Sucks for y'all. Crunch, crunch.
Yeah. But I was freezing. I was so cold at times if I could walk through my apartment and like you'd see the air and you're like, oh, that's really cold.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not good. Hey, don't feel bad because as far apart as we are, we have the same kind of thing. Mm. When it snowed in Atlanta, it shut us down for like 2 months. Mm. I mean, you remember the bad one in like 2012?
Yeah.
Where we got all that. New York was like, we're not kidding, guys. It's going to be bad. And us Atlantans were like, yeah, right.
I do remember that. I lived up in Illinois at the time. Okay. And yeah. And it was his first experience for real snow as well. I've got the greatest pictures of him. He's 3 at the time and he's going, yeah, and having a great time. And my favorite thing is like, if you're never around snow, prepare that it's going to be cold and wet and you're going to say, yeah, dumb, that's stupid. No, in movies, when people get up out of snow, there's never like this wetness about them. It's like all comfortable. No, it's not all that great.
No,
it's really not all that great.
No, it's not. It's terrible. It's terrible. I hate snow. I've grown to hate snow.
Failure to conform, horseshoes and hand grenades.
So you just got back from England.
I did.
UK, London, whereabouts? Where did you go? What did you do? How fun was it?
It's always a blast. I love England. England is like going home in a way, and I don't know why, but it just is. A few years ago, there is a festival up in North Shields and South Shields, and it's called the Crossing the Tyne Festival, and I was invited to play it. And they were like, but you've got to pay your own way and come out. And I'm just thinking, yeah, this is the thing. Everybody told me in my whole entire life, I'm never going to play a gig in England. Watch me. So I went last year, and I loved it. I had the best time. I landed in London, and I went up to Newcastle and then farther up into North Shields and everything. But what was so wonderful about it was I did it all by myself. Like, I did it by myself. And people look at me like, you traveled to a different country by yourself? And I'm like, well, honey, the truth is I'm safer right where I am right now by myself than I would be walking through some streets in Houston, you know? So, yeah, it's that's just how I felt about it. And I have a lot of confidence in myself. I know not to walk down an alley. Like, I know not to walk down an alley. So that I went and I had a great time, and I played 5 shows in 8 days. I even have one where I walked in and I was in Morpeth, and there's this cat, and he was playing, and he was so good, and I loved it. And he was playing all these great songs that you could, and it was his first gig back since the lockdown. His name is Andy. They called him Our Andy. Like, the whole place loved him. Oh, nice. And so the girl Carol that I was with for the band Specky Cult, I was hanging out with them, and we'd walked all the way there. And she runs up to the little area of the stage thing, and she says, oh, this American wants to play. And I was like, I didn't want to play. Like, I have my Guinness. I have my life. I'm having a great time. And so, of course, yeah, I got dragged up in there. And then I broke out in, Solomon Burke's, I had to, because I figured to myself, who else is going to be playing that, When your baby, ooh. And I did that, and everybody turns around like, oh, we like her immediately. And long story short, I played like half that gig with him. He got paid all the money, but I got paid in Guinness, which, if you know me, I'm on the low-carb diet right now. But when I'm not, hey, girl, hey, that is my drink. The other funny thing about that is they said, do you want a shot of something, Yeah. And after you've had a couple of Guinness and you're standing up there with somebody else's guitar and you're trying to play every song that everybody wants to listen to, I can't think. And I'm from Texas, and what do we drink for a shot in Texas? We drink tequila. So I'm like, well, how about tequila? And the look on the face of, the pub, the lady in the pub, she's like, tequila. And I don't even know. So they pull out some bottle of tequila, and almost everybody in that little area of the pub has a shot of tequila. And we're like, to Texas. We shut that place down. I played acoustic, and, after everybody was supposed to go home, since it was like the first time back, it was so different for us than it was for them. So it was really magical. And we played Fleetwood Mac, and we played Elton John, and I played, Bruce Springsteen, and I just played everything I could think of and had a great time. And yeah, that was just I just walked into it. Other gigs, had been set up for me, which were really wonderful. Yeah. And I just love England. And then on the way back, I got a message from a person that I knew personally. And I knew them because I had met them in 2008, and one of my best friends, she had this house that had an island, and I was sitting right across from them, and they were like, we're from England. And I was like, oh, yeah, whereabouts? So we're like, we're not from London. They said, we're from Swindon, okay? And I said, hello, Swindon, I am here. And they just died. That's an Eddie Izzard quote, by the way. And they just died laughing. They're like, oh, there's another place other than London. And that set up a friendship that I've had just since 2008. Last time I was in England, which about 2 months ago, I stayed with their family. Oh, they awesome. Drove me to the gig that I had in Swindon. By the way, I do love Swindon. I'll tell you another reason I love Swindon. When I was leaving the next day, and I travel by myself, so I've got my guitar on my shoulders, and I get onto a train, and there is this wonderful set of women. There's 4 women, and they're just being jovial and having a good time. And I know there are Martine, Kaya, and Debbie, and forgive me, I do not remember Debbie's sister's name. I am so sorry. But, and I'm just sitting, that's their names. I'm sitting there, and when we get off, and I noticed how happy they were. And we're exchanging glances of hi, And they're like, oh, you have a guitar. And I said, well, I have a gig that I'm playing in Torquay. And they're like, we are going.
Cassidy Paris, Danger.
to Torquay. Thank goodness. And I say that because every train from Swindon canceled, every single one. So I was like, can this little American please follow you around for the rest of the day? And they were like, yeah. And they took care of me. We swapped stories. One of the reasons that they were having this trip that they were going to, because Devon's beautiful. Yeah. Torquay is absolutely stunning. The water is amazing. I've been there before, and the reason they were going is they had had some tragedies in their lives. Of course, the last couple of years, but one in particular, I believe it was Martine. Her partner, he had been diagnosed with lung cancer, and then died like weeks later. Before he could get the rest of all of his, and she just came home. And he was gone. And I looked at her, and she looked at me like, why are you looking at? So my husband died of lung cancer 8.5 years ago. So I am on a train with this woman who's helping me get to where I need to go, and we have this amazing connection. So when I get there, and I'm playing at this place called Malloy's in Torquay, that my manager, Chris Gregory, had set up for me, and I'm loving it, and I'm having a great time. There's no microphone stand. Things had just, everything gone wrong. I taped a microphone to a monitor stand. You know why? Because you just figure it out. Yeah. I went to the co-op next door. I was like, do you have any gaffeter tape or like anything? And so I've just get it all done. And by the end, I think I'll show you a picture of it. By the end, they come walking into my gig. They found out where my gig was. They took an Uber for 35 minutes away to come see the end of it. It was amazing, and they were wonderful. And I dedicated the song I wrote, Circle, to them because they were living it. They were doing all these other things. Mm-hmm. You got to cross the bridge. You got to run the last mile. You got to wear your smile like it's armor.
Right.
So it was it was such a great trip. And then I jumped up to London from there. I had a gig and it got canceled, but I still was going to go hang out in London. So I went and I met up with my friend Rachel, and we had a blast. And I also met up with my friend Lynn, and we had a nice drink together. But Rachel and I, we stormed the town. We went everywhere. We even got to the Comedy Store, and I got to see the Comedy Store players on Sunday, and I got to meet Richard Ranch. And I'm all excited now, but I was super cool. I'm not gonna freak out. This is so awesome. Taking a picture after we left, I was like, she is so wonderful. Rachel was so great, and I'm so. We rode bicycles in Hyde Park. She hadn't done that. I was like, yeah, we're gonna rent a bike. So I rented us 2 bikes, and we drove through Hyde Park, and she had an accident, and I picked her up, and then we stopped riding for a while, and then we walked all over London. We had such a great time. We did it in Converse. We were both walking around in our Converse. I've got really great pictures. I had amazing time. We went to so many different fun things in that short amount of time. Yeah. And so, yeah, and then I took the bus/coach up to Newcastle. And I've been all different kinds of places. And the 3 times that I've been to England in the last year, one of my favorite places, I went down to Bexhill-on-the-Sea. That was amazing. I went to Swindon. I've been to Morpeth. I've been to Whitley Bay, North Shields, South Shields. I wanted to go to Manchester, so now that's the next thing. I'm going to try to go to Manchester. There's a lot of places I want to go. I wanted to get into Wales. If you're listening, I want to get into Wales and Scotland and Ireland. I was supposed to go to the Fringe. I was supposed to go, just to pop in and see it, but my guitar broke.
Oh, no.
So the day that I was going to be able to, catch a train and or bus up to Scotland and to Edinburgh, my guitar broke, and I had to walk around. But there was this great guy named Alex Kirkley. Yeah. And he fixed my guitar and in North Shields, and I took a bus there, got out, I was walking out, and there's this picture, I think it's my profile picture. As I was walking down, and I took this profile picture, I had the lady who helps put together this particular charity. She messaged me after I got back, and she's like, "Can I call you?" Her name is Leslie. I was like, "Absolutely," because she's calling from Malaysia, and she wanted to know where I was. Mm-hmm. It turns out I was in Billy Mill Avenue, Billy Mill Road, and that's where her ancestors were from.
Emily Glazener, Merry Christmas, a happy one too.
Snow must be falling somewhere. Can hear carols sung out in the great open air. Merry Christmas, a happy one too. Right flying high, me and you. Salvation Army bells ring in town square. The man with the big gray coat says, "Have you got any change to spare?" Merry Christmas, happy one too. So heading nowhere behind you. Trees dance with colors, such a beautiful hue. The street lamps with holly, the ribbons and tulle. Church doors are open with candles and prayers. The children with donation boxes fill reach out to those far away, and the little ones ride to the big bad man that was riding on his sleigh. Merry Christmas, happy one too. Feliz Navidad, me and you. Ooh, ooh.
We just got back from her doing an acoustic set, which will be on this episode.
Woohoo!
And I have absolutely enjoyed having you here. I have enjoyed
loved it.
so much.
I had a great time.
And now you've brought in cool ideas that we're going to start doing.
Oh, yeah.
And
I am full of cool ideas.
hopefully you'll be back.
Oh, I will be back because, like I said, my son lives in Virginia when he's not on the boat, and my brother and my beautiful, stunningly amazing, awesome sister-in-law. I say that because, like, there are people that you look up to in your life, and she's younger than me, but I absolutely look up to her. She's, and I can tell you one of the reasons she's so great is, yes, she raises my niece, and she puts up with my brother. That's my little brother, y'all, so that's a feat. But she's also a surrogate, and she's just wonderful. So, Cherish, I love you very much.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I love it. I love people who love other people enough to do things like that.
No, she's wonderful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So.
Now, you're leaving here. Mm-hmm. You're headed back to Texas. Mm-hmm. Do you have any stops on your way home?
Well, I'm trying to get him to school at least by Tuesday. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be successful in this, but I'm trying. And so one of the things we may do is, if we could stop in Mississippi. I'm actually from Mississippi, and I mentioned the fact that we stop in Mississippi. And now, growing up, like, everybo's got a grandmother that they're very close to. I was close to my Aunt Linda, and so my boy's like, Aunt Linda, like Aunt Linda. I was like, yeah, like the Aunt Linda, like the. I was like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that's how we feel about family. There are certain people in your life that are just, yeah. Great, and getting to share my aunt and uncle. I have an Uncle Arthur and Aunt Alexis and Uncle Fred as well. They all live in that. But when it comes to Aunt Linda, my kids are like, boom. Yeah,
there you go.
She is the end all.
There you go. Gotta have a favorite. Always gotta have a favorite.
Well, my Aunt Alexis and my Aunt Linda, they're just amazing women. I mean, amazing women. Yeah, so.
That is awesome. That is awesome, Miss Emily. Again, thank you so much for coming, hanging out.
Yes, I love it.
Do you have goals for the next 12 months? Give me your top three.
My top three. I want to play in Canada. I have some friends in Canada. If you have ever heard Strange Valentines, they're an amazing band. Look them up, find them. They're wonderful. I'll send them to you.
Very cool.
Great, cool band. I played with them when I was in England. I'd like to go back to England. I want to play in Wales. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get up into Scotland next time I go, but I want to play in Wales. I don't know why it's so hard for me to get in, but I'm going to get in. I want to play it. So if you have any ties to be able to get this little country girl in there, I would love to. And also, even though I sound country, I normally just play rock and roll, but I can do it all. I want to play in Canada, and I'd like to get into Wales. And I'd like to, in 2024, if not before, play at least 7 shows in Europe.
Okay. Okay.
I love the idea of being a world traveler. I think that you become a better person when you see the differences and the likenesses of everyone around us.
Yeah.
That whole cliche, we all bleed red. We do all bleed red, so, and I love it. And I can speak very, very little French. So I've got to get in for my very, very little French that I can speak. And I mean, it's so little, like I can book a hotel room.
There you go. That's the most important thing.
I know.
Where's the bathroom?
Nope, don't even know that one.
Hopefully the hotel room has one.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask.
Yeah, or the shower. Like, I want to shower in the room with the shower. Avec douche. Shower.
There you go.
That's what that means, guys.
There you
with
go.
The shower.
Bada bing. Again, we'll love to have you back. I can't wait. And thank you so much.
I've loved it. And again, thank you so much for having me and for having my boy.
Absolutely.
Who I think at one point got through Legos, or I don't even know what that is, but I'm just like, that look on your face of, I'm not going to yell.
It adds character to the show. Listen, every time I do an interview, I know you've heard it. We are less than a football field from the train track.
Oh, but I love trains. So like that.
So you get the horn in the background,
yeah.
you get the chug-a-lug, and 9 times out of 10, an ambulance, fire truck, or police car will scream by the front door. So we have all the wonderful sounds.
You remember that David Gray album, with Babylon? And you can hear all the, if you really turn it up loud, because it was like recorded with the windows open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Sam Hunt did one like that, where he's country guy.
Yeah.
He's actually from Cedartown, which is really cool. And if you listen to, I think I know one song by him. They recorded it in like just this guy's bedroom. So you had cats outside, you had dogs barking. You could hear a lot of stuff, but you really had to crank it to hear it.
Well, you could probably do that with my song "Circle." That's out right now, and I'm very, very proud of. I recorded the vocal in my bedroom last year around this time.
Nice.
So my friend Matt Gary and I, it's just the two of us, and then you could hear somebody watching the apartment wall. I was like, "Hey man, you're gonna have to stop because like we're not gonna be able to record like this." Or the kids run in, "Hey mom, can I go outside and play ball?" Yes. Just go. Let me finish this, please.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's always really cool.
I can't tell you how many I've done at home. Yeah. And I have an indoor blue heeler. He'll stay in the house. Most of the time he sleeps. Yeah. But as soon as I start an interview, he goes over to his water bowl, puts his whole head in, and makes as much noise as possible. And then he moves over to his dry dog food. It's like crunch, crunch. I'm like, you've been asleep all morning and you choose now to wake up.
Yeah, because Dad, you've got to pay attention at that moment, in this moment, right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me pause my interview of these people who took time out of their day to let you outside. Go back to sleep.
It's like just wanting to make sure that you know that I am still important. The dog that's what the dog was saying.
Yes. If he was here, he'd be right there.
Oh, actually, my kid would be over like, it's a dog, Papa's a dog. Or he does the same thing over a baby. Like he freaked out of the baby in front of us on the plane. So I know I'm raising my kids in the right way.
There you go.
That my goal is to raise them LGBTQ, aware and colorblind, gender blind. Just raise them. People are people. Love people for who they are. Exactly. Tell everybody where they can find you on all the socials. All right. So if you want the song, my Christmas song, and my Christmas song and my song "Circle," you can find them anywhere that you like to stream, and it'll be under Emily Irene Glazener. Irene will one day be removed, not from me because that is my middle name. But when people try to infringe on your music, you have to change things up and move things around. So you want to find me on Emily Irene Glazener. And that would be wonderful. I'd love to have you come hang out with me on Twitter. I love Twitter. I am a Twitter fool. So it's at Emily_Glazener. And on Instagram, I'm at Emmylou Glaze. I like that one. It makes me smile. And Emily Glazener on Facebook. And you'll find me most of those places. I got these cool pink glasses, and I'm walking through North Shields, like Billy Mill Road. That's where I am in that picture. So, check me out. Check the music out. I am all about uplifting other people. I can write a sad song, I can write a happy song, or I can just write a song about life. But everything I want to do, I don't want to bring people down. I want them to know that this is life, and we get through it. I am a widowed mother of 3. I have 2 stepsons, so really, in a lot of ways, I've got 5 kids. I'm still a huge influence in their life, and they are in my life. They're 25, 20, and then I've got 20, 13, and 9. I've got all boys. And, life makes weird turns. I'm raising them all by myself. The 3 are a lot older, but and it doesn't end. Things get better, and you just have to find the good where you are. That's my hashtag, by the way. It's my favorite hashtag. I think everybody should use it with positive things. Hashtag, all in one big thing, but each word with a capital letter because I'm weird like that. Find the good where you are, because even if there's something terrible going on, the good thing is you realize what it is, and you can move on from that.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much, and be careful on your way home.
Thank you. I will.